Resident Evil 6. You want to know my opinion on it? It's fantastic. This is probably one of the best Resident Evil games I've played in up till now. I remember when I was playing Operation Raccoon City, I couldn't stop thinking about Resident Evil 6 because I was really hyped up about it because the stuff I saw in Operation Raccoon City, I figured, oh god, if they've made this, then they've got to put it in in the new one, and they did. They put the controls in this are very similar to Raccoon City's. L1 to aim, R1 to shoot, so they got rid of the whole L1 to aim, square, or X to attack. I think the L1 R1 does kind of feel kind of familiar, but it feels a bit too much Call of Duty like. But it's nice to see that they've changed the controls in that. Like, they've made it easy. They've also made the inventory system much easier to access. I thought that was good. I'd have to say that the inventory system is vastly improved from RE5. They went kind of back to the old RE4. They didn't give you like the cachet briefcase box thing like they did in the fourth one, but they definitely you can hold a lot more items now than you could in the previous one, which is nice. And I'd have to say the game feels vastly improved upon, because if anything, that's what RE6 is. It just improves on anything that was kind of lacking in the old Resident Evil titles, and then it just improved it in this one. Now you're probably thinking I'm going to be nitpicking at my bits I don't like. The bits I don't like are probably the remote bombs. I've only been able to use them maybe once or twice, but I really don't see why I need them. If you're gonna be setting up a trap for zombies that are coming at you, then that's fine. But I hardly use those things, because I just felt like, why in the game? Why do I need to pick these up? Do I really care about them? Because every time I got filled up with my inventory, I'd have a look at what I could get rid of, and it was mostly the remote bombs and flash grenades, which is also another weapon I felt that shouldn't even, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, in the RE4 and RE5, you could use them to get rid of the Las Plagas and Magini stuff, but in this, I tried throwing one at like the Giavo, which are the new enemies in the game, by the way, and it didn't do anything. I threw one, I'm thinking, okay, there's a whole bunch of them, I should be able to get tons of points of this. But it didn't work. It only just blinded them. It didn't, get rid of it. It was like, well, what's the point? What's the point of having these flash grenades? I know they're blind enemies, but if you've got like a mutated thing coming at you, and you've played RE4 and RE5, and your main instinct is flash grenade, throw it, think out of the head or arm or something, throw it, kills it instantly, get points. It doesn't work in this game. It's stupid. I mean, they've got to figure out, like, I didn't even use them. I just used the incendiaries, which is quite weird because there's more incendiary grenades in this game than there are hand grenades, which is interesting, considering a hand grenade is the main grenade you'd find in the game. But I was picking up incendiaries more than I was flash grenades, which was quite interesting. Another thing I really don't like is the first aid sprays, which you're thinking, what? How? Why are you saying that? Well, the reason I'm saying this is because the first aid spray, in Resident Evil tradition, is you're lucky, like if you're that close to losing a life and game over, you can just get one out and you'll be fine. But but in this game they've really made good use of the classic herbs, because you're going to be collecting more herbs than you are first aid spray, and the new herb tablet system is quite interesting actually, because in the old games you'd have to pause the game, pause the game, or go in the inventory, find it, get it, use it, and you'd be okay. But in this, I think this is one of quite an improvement. What they've done, they've basically, you collect herbs, you combine them together, and if you get a red and if you get 3 greens, you get about, I think 6 herbs. But if you get a red and a green, you get 6 herbs instantly, and then you can just put it in your you can drag it down to your inventory, and you could instantly use with the R2 button or right trigger on Xbox, and you can instantly get health each time, which is quite interesting because I thought it was quite a nice addition, because I hardly use any of the first aid sprays. In fact, I've only had found a few first aid sprays, but nonetheless I've just found the herbs easier to use, and plus, they're quicker to get your health. So instead of having to pause the game, you just go, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger. Now, my favorite, my favorite thing in the game is, well, the little kind of homage and tributes to the old Resident Evil games, because when I was yesterday, when I was playing the game split screen with my mate Will, who came over, and I said hey, let's play Resident Evil 6, I'll show you how good it is. Me and him were going through, and the first time you play a game, you go through, okay, let's see what's happening here, and then when you go through your second time going through the game, you find, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute, isn't that, because the game Resident Evil 6, if it was to say it was the last game in the whole franchise, there's quite a lot of homage to a lot of things. In the very first level, not the prelude, for those of you, the very first level, Leon's first level, when you're at the Torlox University in town, there's a lot of Resident Evil tributes scattered throughout the game. The first one is when you kill the president, which you shoot him in the head, which is kind of an homage to anyone who played the 1996 PlayStation 1 version of Resident Evil, where you just, Barry goes, "It's a monster! I'll get him, Jill!" And he just shoots, keeps shooting him in the head until his, head explodes, but the president's head doesn't explode in this one, it's, just a bullet through the brain. But nonetheless, I felt hey, this is kind of hey, wait a minute, that's like the, scene in the dining hall in Resident Evil 1. And then after you've killed the president, you then go walking around this dark hallways in the university, which basically, rings a bell, Resident Evil 1. Because that's what it felt like when I was going through the game. And then it's after you then leave the university, you go down the sewers, and then it just rings bells of Resident Evil 2 when you have to get to the underground lab while trying to avoid the spiders and all that. And I felt oh shit, there's going to be a spider, and there wasn't. And then you got and then after that, you then go into the town, which then rang bells of, as well as Operation Raccoon City, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, where you're going through the destroyed streets of Raccoon City, or Torlox in this case, where you're just basically going around just, killing everyone and just trying to survive. Which I was thinking, wow, Capcom, you really outdone yourself on this one. And it's then you then find these survivors at a petrol station, and the petrol station is called Stagler, which was the petrol station Jill blew up in Resident Evil 3. and in conventional circumstances, you blow up the petrol station, and then later, and then about 10 seconds later, you go into a gun shop, which then became like Resident Evil 2, where you basically hold off the zombies in the gun store, where you're just trying to kill the zombies that are coming in, and you just kill them, and you get all the ammo and the weapons and all that. And then there's like you escape on a vehicle, which is reference to Resident Evil Outbreak, game I've never played, by the way. And then the second level is then reminiscent of the cemetery and church from Resident Evil 4. Not by much though. It's just like you go into a cathedral or church, and that just gave Resident Evil 4. And then you had to do a puzzle going around the church and that, like Resident Evil 4, which was quite fun. And the puzzles in the game for that one church are definitely like Resident Evil 4 in terms of like this and that, because that's what Leon's campaign is. It's basically paying tribute to the old survival horror, which is what Resident Evil built up, and I think it's quite interesting. So it's the best campaign is Leon's. Oh wait, hold on. I almost forgot. Yeah, I'm not gonna say much, but anyone who's seen the trailers and that know that Ada Wong's in the game, and at one point, I'm not gonna say what point it is, but at one point in the game, I was playing it last night. I was like playing around, and I was like listening to what they were saying, because I was playing it late at night because my parents and my brother were asleep, so I had to, turn down the volume. But the scene I'm talking about is I actually heard a new rendition of Ada's theme, and Ada's theme is one of the best. One of my favorite gaming themes for any character, and I thought that it was kind of nice having having Ada's theme from Resident Evil 2 come into Resident Evil 6, and I thought that was just brilliant because I love that theme, and for them to put it in the game, really just give it a full circle of Resident Evil tributes that are scattered throughout Resident Evil 6. I recommend anyone who's playing the game, keep an eye out for anything like Resident Evil old school related, or anything related to any Resident Evil game, which is quite fun. Now, you probably want me to go on about the other campaigns. I've completed Jake's campaign. Jake's campaign, I would say, feels like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, because you're being constantly attacked and chased by this thing called the Ustanok, which is, let's just say, a cousin of Nemesis, because he doesn't talk, he doesn't utter any words except but that's it. But he does have his own like weapons, like he's got like a ball and chain, a gun, and of course his gigantic arm, which is kind of like Nemesis when he had his rocket launcher, his fists, and his tentacles. And for him to constantly chase Jake throughout every level, this is every level you face the Ustanok, is just like when Jill was getting chased by the Nemesis all across Raccoon City, no matter what. But unlike RE3, the Nemesis attacked, any time you could be doing anything, it would attack at random. Ustanok is more of it's based. Ustanok's moments are scripted, so it doesn't feel like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, but it's close enough to getting you're getting chased by a gigantic thing across each level, across each continent, wherever you go, which is I commend Capcom for doing that. I thought that was quite nice. Finally, we have Chris's campaign, which I'd have to say I have to complete Chris's level. I'm only halfway through Chris's campaign, and it's really, I have to say, they've really darkened Chris in a way, because from what I've seen, from when I was playing, I just was amazed at what happened with Chris. He's really become quite dark in a way, because he's suffering from amnesia, and he like constantly wants to get everything he wants, but I'm thinking like, there's no way, like, because Chris is, he's the number one. He was the first character you played as. He's been there since the beginning, and as far as I'm aware, sorry about that, that was my phone. Chris is just, they've really darkened it quite a lot, the whole gameplay between Chris RE5 and now Chris RE6, because when I played the demo I was thinking, oh, it's going to be Resident Evil 5, we gotta stop this, come on dude, let's do it, in Roger Craig Smith voice acting style. But then when I got more into the game, I was thinking, what have they done to Chris? I mean, they're really dark. I mean, the way he's like obsessed with trying to stop the Javo and the terrorists and Ada Wong, for him to interact with other people, especially Piers, I have to say is probably quite memorable, because he's like the opposite of Chris in terms of what to do with the BSAA. So Piers is just trying his hardest to make sure that Chris doesn't fuck up, because Chris inside and on the mission is fucking up, just obsessively just trying to stop Ada and just trying to stop everyone from doing everything. So it's like, come on Chris, come on, you can't do this. And he's like, no, I have to for the good of my men. But it's just really hard for me to grasp at what Chris is basically just trying to do. I mean, I'm having a hard time trying to deal with the fact he's going dark in this game, which I've always wanted to see, but the way they've done it just caught me off guard, so I have to commend Capcom for that. Okay, final thoughts on the game. Just buy it, because as far as I'm aware, Resident Evil 6 is, I have to say, is really the biggest game I've ever played, in terms of playing one level. Anyone who's played Resident Evil 6 so far, you'll know that it takes, on average, an hour to complete, which I'm just amazed by, because in RE5 and RE4, you could just breeze through a level like maybe 10 minutes, but of course it would take you half an hour with regular weapons and that. But with unlimited ammo and like, knowing everything where everything is, you could take like 10 minutes. For a game like this, going one walkthrough, it could take an hour, and if you unlock everything and get every weapon and unlimited ammo, it could take you maybe half an hour. So the timing in the levels is quite amazed, because it caught me off guard. I was like thinking, how long is this level going on for? Because every time I thought there was a bit of the level, I thought, okay, it's going to go fade out to black, end of chapter 1 point da 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 da. Instead, it kept going on and on and on and on until eventually this one bit, and then said end of chapter 1. And I was thinking, oh my god, this could take me hours to complete. And each campaign of the 4, but I haven't unlocked the 4th one yet. I'm still got, Chris, Jake, and Leon. So I need to complete Chris's to get Ada's, and then I'll bring out my thoughts on Ada's campaign, because I'm quite interested to see what happened to Ada between 4 and 6, because if anyone's played the game so far, they'll be interested to see what's happened to her, because I'm not going to say anything about her at the minute, but for those of you who know, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? So Ada, I'm glad to see. I'm liking the new voice actress, Courtney Taylor. She's quite nice. I'm actually going to probably see her at the London MCM Expo, which I'm going to at the end of the month. Gonna ask her about like how was it like working on a Resident Evil game and that. And final, I'm also seeing as though we are talking about Resident Evil, I might as well get my thoughts out on Resident Evil 2. I think they should remake it, Resident Evil 2, because Resident Evil 2 is just one of the greatest games ever made. It's one of the greatest on PlayStation 2, one of the best in survival horror, and the best up until 3. I still think 3 is the best. But if there's anything that came close to it, it's Resident Evil 2, and I think that Capcom should remake it in its HD glory with the empty framework engine. Basically, do everything that you did in Resident Evil 2, put that into the game, put it into the HD remake, and then you've got yourself another $1 billion game. But just be careful when you're making it. Make sure it sticks to the survival horror roots. Make sure that it, of course, you keep the zombies. You don't make anything new. You just keep the zombies, the lickers, the dogs, and Birkin. I think you should make. I think what you should make like old school mode and new school mode, or regular mode, basically. So one mode, the first time you play through, you're playing it in the RE4 over the shoulder. You can see everything better, gun style. And then when you complete the game, you get old school mode where you play from the fixed camera angles. And if that was enough, why not? With a PlayStation 3, you got the Blu-ray disc with so much hard drive in it and so much data you could put on. Why don't you like secretly put on like Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 as another collective reward for everyone. So people who never played Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 1, you can now play it on a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox. And people will get to be like, oh my god, this is what this game used to be like? Wow, holy shit. Because I think if they did that, that would be pretty awesome. Kind of like what Sega did with Sonic Generations when they put the original Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991 onto the disc, onto the game. And then you could like play it straight away and then try to complete it within like half an hour or something. I think that would be cool. I mean, I remember when I played. Well, I've never played it, but I watched my dad playing Resident Evil 2, and I was fine with the game up until I got to the bit where you're on the train with Leon and Ada, and you're attacked by Birkin. I didn't know what the hell it was. It was like an armor. I was like, shit, what the fuck is that? And like, I was like, oh god, what the fuck is it? What the fuck is it? And you have to remember, I was 4 at the time when this came out, so it's easy to get scared by something like this. And then when you see like Birkin, like this giant monster with an eye on its arm, just looking at the character, you're thinking, oh shit! Oh no! Like, yeah, it's like, oh, because that's what it was like for me. That's classic horror. You build it up, and for me to get scared like that is what Resident Evil should be. You should be getting scares, because it did scare me. I couldn't even look at another Resident Evil game until Resident Evil 4, and I was still scared of the game. I was still scared of Resident Evil until Resident Evil 4, because I overcame it, from 1998 till 2005. I couldn't, dare to play like a survival horror game, because I was genuinely that scared. I thought the same horror that got me Resident Evil 2 would get me Resident Evil 4. But luckily though, I loved it, and I'm no longer scared of what I was scared of. I'm now a fan of the game, thanks to my dad, who I have to commend for introducing me to the series. And I'd say to Capcom, just don't action orient it. Just make it survival horror. Make it, go around with little items, very little items, make up strategies, and think about what you're gonna do coming into a mission, coming into in a scenario where you've got 100 zombies in front of you, and your best bet is to not shoot them, just run past them as fast as you can. So it's like, yeah, Resident Evil 2 definitely should remake it. I mean, there's millions of fans that will want it, and you have said before in the past that it may be possible. In fact, a year ago they said we may possibly make it, and now, thanks to the conclusion of Resident Evil 6, with more fans being brought in, and they find out that there's a second one that wants to be remade, a lot of those people will be like, yeah, we want to see that. We want to see that remade. Show us what the old Resident Evil used to be like, but with new graphics in that. So, Resident Evil 6 is a fantastic game, a great tribute to the old Resident Evil games. I recommend you, play Leon's campaign more, because if you're old school action survival horror, definitely play Leon's campaign. If you want to just complete the rest of the game, go on Jake's and Chris's. And then of course you've got Ada, who will shed more light on the whole Resident Evil 6 campaign, because there are quite a few questions I need to figure out, but I can do that in the later campaign. So RE6, it's a great game. Took everything that was good from other Resident Evil games, improved on some features from Raccoon City and RE5 that failed, improved them and refined them, and it's just basically just buy the game, because it's fantastic. You'll love it, because it's just buy it, because as soon as you play Resident Evil 6, you want more Resident Evil, and you will want the Resident Evil 2 remake. So, for those of you watching, thanks for letting me waste half an hour of your time, and thanks for watching, and please do make Resident Evil 2, Capcom. Please.